What's going on, everybody? My name is Bill, and I'm with the Ives brothers today, Cody and Kyle. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, man, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell the people at home who the Ives brothers are and what you guys do?
So the Ives brothers are just two Southern Georgia boys that travel around America, and we do stunt shows on motorcycles. My brother Cody, who's a little older than I, started a little before me, ride motorcycles inside of a steel ball. Later on, I started jumping motorcycles, and then we kind of got the opportunity to do some other things, which led us to the Wall of Death, and we built our own, and now we just travel around and kind of play our own game and do our own deal, and just try to entertain people and events, and make a life of our own.
It's awesome, man. How did you guys come up with the idea for the Wall of Death?
The wall kind of found us. We were doing other stunt shows previous to it, and we had the opportunity of having one in our backyard, and so we set the thing up and put kind of like what we knew with riding in the steel ball, and put it into this, and put our own little twist on things, and brought a little bit of the new school and old school so that we can kind of hit everybody. And we turned out to be fairly good at it, and went on tour
just
with
good
it.
Enough. Believe it or not, man.
Well, I mean, you guys are definitely obviously good at it, man. Like, you guys are everywhere. You guys have been on the road since May?
I haven't been home since May. We've been on the road since January. We did the Toronto Motorcycle Super Show up in Toronto, Canada, January 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then we do some other shows in February. Daytona is like really the start of our tour in March. And then like April, we kind of do things like around close to home, like maybe Falcon's Fury Harley-Davidson, or Bumpus Harley-Davidson in Murfreesboro. Some fairly local dealerships that's a day's drive from our home. And then that way we can kind of go back and forth, and we both have kids and other things to attend to at the house, and so we keep it close. And then like towards the end of May, starting when heat starts to come about, summer's kicking off, we start taking off, and then we're just too far. We're out in California from June to July, South Dakota, Kansas, and Colorado, September,
Milwaukee for the 120 in.
Yeah.
We've kind of just been bouncing all over from one coast to another coast.
Yeah. As the older brother, did you get into motorcycling first?
Yeah, so my dad started in the entertainment industry. He was in a circus school, because we're from Sarasota, Florida, which
That's
is
cool, dude.
home of Ringling Brothers. My grandma was a nurse, and she would go to the hospital and work, and across the street was a circus school program, so she would drop my uncle and my dad off. And growing up, they learned circus traits, kind of like YMCA.
Yeah.
And then my dad, 18, joined the circus, kind of went off from there, walking high wire and riding horses, and one of the family members owned a steel ball. So he started riding a steel ball before we even were thought of, and next thing you know, he's got one set up in the backyard because he missed it. And we're 7, 8 years old, getting in there on BMX bikes, and then 8th birthday, they got me a dirt bike. That's kind of where it led from there. And we always grew up riding dirt bikes, and my dad always put us on the gas tank, riding us around in the steel ball, so I guess it was natural that we were going to want to try it ourselves. And so went on the road full time at 9 years old, traveling around Canada and circuses and stuff like that. And then by the time I was about 12, 13, my brother started riding with me, and then my dad and I had a bad accident one year in Sturgis, and then it went from my dad and I riding in the ball together to what you see now, the Ives brothers.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, my dad would take me to school, and this is before there was a helmet law in California, and I'd sit on his lap, and my brother would be behind him, and that was just completely normal at that time. Things have changed so much. The idea of safety and everything has changed so much. Speaking of safety, you guys have been riding for a long time. I'm sure you guys have probably had a couple accidents, motorcycle accidents.
Yeah, they happen. I've been blessed. I bounce pretty good. I've never broken anything. Kyle normally breaks everything for me. He's had a few accidents that put him in the hospital. A couple concussions through the both of us. It definitely happens. It's one of those things that you can't prevent it. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. You just got to, over time, be ready for it.
Are the accidents that happen typically while you guys are performing, or have you guys been in accidents while you're?
Almost all of them are
Yeah.
in practice. Well, all of mine are in practice. Cody always wrecks in shows.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I've wrecked a few
But
times.
to be fair, Cody pretty much only rides when it's showtime.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I pretty much in practice.
Yeah.
You know, for me.
Right on, dude. So one of the things that I discuss a lot in my interviews is how the motorcycle, especially like the American V-twin lifestyle and industry, is kind of aging out a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys bring a really youthful energy to this lifestyle and to all the shows and everything. I think that's really cool. Is that something that you guys intended on? Is that something you guys are kind of working on? Because with the music, like just your guys' entire show is very entertaining and captivating for the younger crowd.
100% what we're trying to do. You know, and I think we get better every year. So, but you know, we try to keep it as core as possible, but bring that fresh feel to it. You know, because we want people to enjoy themselves, and we don't want it to be just the same old party. You know, so
But we still want to be able to reach out to that old demographic, that old crowd that once saw this when they were kids.
well, and that's the thing
and
is the
still bring
balance.
the new school to it, to where the new kids that are coming into the community, they enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
It's something that they'll remember for the rest of their life, so that later on, 20, 30 years from now, if this is passed down to our kids, those kids that we did shows for will always remember the Wall of Death that they'll want to bring their kids to.
Yeah.
And keeping it at a respectable level for the older generation to still respect it and, you know, still get excited from it, but also make memories for people that are at a young age that may have never even seen anything close to this.
You know, I remember the very first time I seen you guys perform, dude. It was so much fun, and I'll tell you the thing that that I found like the most entertaining was when you guys would swing by and grab the $20 bill from somebody and come back, and the very next lap around and toss the shirt at that person. Dude, that hand-eye coordination and that memory when you're swimming or while you're speeding around at 35, 40 miles an hour. Dude, I was blown away by that, and I wanted to see every one of your guys' shows since then.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. That's something. So that was something that we added to the show. That was new, like our own little touch on things, and that alone has made a lot of people remember us for who we are. Just that little
It's
niche.
very personal.
You know what I mean? Like, so for hundreds of years, people's been grabbing money out of other people's hands, you know, and but the T-shirt thing really separated us from being recognized as just another Wall of Death, which is pretty silly, you know. But it did it, and it worked. And I don't think we expected it to take off as good as it did, but it's definitely our little niche, you know. It's really cool going to these rallies, especially, you know, that we've been doing it for so long. It's very common we go to these rallies and we're either walking into a store, or we're just pulling in town, or we're just stopped at a red light and you see some like a family wearing Ives Brothers shirts. Like I can look across this parking lot and spot a kid in Ives Brothers shirt.
Yeah.
That's cool for us, you know, because we're not a house name brand or anything, you know. We're just, like I said, a couple of kids that are lucky enough to get paid to ride their motorcycles across this country and meet amazing people and live the lifestyle that we live. So, you know, we're definitely thankful for every day we get to wake up and breathe this air and just kind of do our own thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's really it, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, because, I mean, we're definitely not doing it to get rich.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you guys were able to find a way to support your family through motorcycling, you know? And also kind of carrying on your family legacy a bit, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, not even a bit, right? Like, this is performance work.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are just getting into motorcycling, and especially, you know, like you guys, I'm sure, tap into the motocross market, and those people who are just crossing over, people who are going to be buying these motorcycles and modifying them soon. What would your advice be to the younger people who are just getting ready to enter this American V-twin market? They're going to buy their first Dyna, their first Sportster, something like that. And maybe they have concerns about whether or not they're going to fit in,
do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do it for anybody else.
Don't chase the clout, for sure. Indy and Larry once told us when we were kids, do what you love, and everything else will always come. Money, fame, it doesn't matter if you're chasing any of that. Just always be you, be true to yourself, do what you love, and the money will always arrive. He told us that. And we just kind of carried that off to what we do now. We don't really have a specific taste in
we mention that often.
How we present ourselves,
in the family meetings and everything. We mention that often. Do what you love, the money will follow.
Coming into the V-twin side of things, it doesn't matter if you're riding the live wire to the Sportster to being a Dynabro. Always put your own touch on things. You're not building your bike for other people's approval. You're building it for yourself. Of course, on the performance side of things, us as professional motorcycle riders, I would always advise, if you're going to get a bike and your first custom thing you want to do to it, I would suggest do suspension. Suspension's a big part in it, from handling, and even as new riders, they're not used to sometimes maneuvering and being able to fix their mess ups.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even down to braking.
It's all important, Bubba.
Yeah, everything.
Suspension, handlebars, control, brakes.
Yeah.
It's all important. Just always stay focused, though. And the trick is getting comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not about how good you are or how fast you are. It's about how comfortable you are. And the more comfortable you are, the better you'll operate. So, seat time, just having patience. You're not gonna go buy a motorcycle and be the next Josh Herring tomorrow, or Guy Cooper. It's seat time, and some people have a natural talent that catch on pretty quick, but even those guys invest 10, 15 years before the pros. And so, have the patience, and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Pay attention. Soak in every second, every mile. And I'm sure you can relate that the reality of riding a motorcycle never changes. Just the way that you ride is the only thing that changes. So all the elements are still there. The danger, the risk factor, all of it's still there. The thing about Cody and I, we get on this wall, it's just another walk through the park for us, because we've done this hundreds of times over and over and over again. So the comfort level for me and him to get up on that wall, we know what it's supposed to feel like. We know what it's supposed to be like in every aspect, from the way that it sounds, from the way that it feels. And that just all came with time. And so just invest your time and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Well, speaking of time, I know you guys are performing soon. I'm going to break the camera down, pop up on top, and see if I can't catch one of those shirts from you guys.
Right on,
Thank you guys so much for taking the time, and it's always difficult doing these interviews during a rally. You guys are busy. You guys are family guys. You guys are businessmen.
So much to talk about in such little time.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys somewhere down the road.
Yeah, for real. Stay tuned for the next episode.
See you guys.